Most women think a man loses interest because something dramatic happened. A fight, a betrayal, a rival, something big and obvious, but that's rarely how it actually goes. Most of the time, interest doesn't disappear all at once. It fades quietly, in small moments you probably didn't even notice. A conversation that felt a little off, a night you tried too hard, a pattern that repeated itself without you realizing it was a pattern at all. Here's the truth. Men don't usually lose interest because of one big mistake. They lose interest because of small, repeated ones. And today, I want to walk you through the 7 that matter most so you can recognize them before they cost you something real. Number 1, making yourself available before he's earned it. This one is subtle, and it's rarely about being too easy. It's about pacing. When a man puts in almost no effort and gets almost immediate access to your time, your attention, your energy, something quietly shifts in how he sees the relationship, not because he's shallow, because human beings value what takes effort to reach, and they undervalue what arrives without any. This doesn't mean playing games or forcing distance. It means letting things build at a natural pace instead of collapsing the timeline because you're excited or anxious. Interest needs room to grow. When you remove that room, you remove the growth along with it. Number 2, turning every conversation into an audit. You know this one. The subtle interrogation disguised as small talk. Where were you? Who were you with? Why didn't you text back sooner? What did that comment on her photo mean? A question here and there is normal. Curiosity is healthy. But when almost every conversation carries an undertone of checking, proving, or explaining, a man starts to feel like he's constantly on trial. And nobody wants to spend their time with someone who makes them feel guilty by default. The irony is, this behavior usually comes from wanting security, but it does the opposite. It creates distance, because the man starts managing your emotions instead of enjoying your company. Number 3, losing your own life to focus entirely on his. This is one of the quietest killers of attraction, and one of the hardest to notice from the inside. Slowly, your hobbies get smaller, your friendships get thinner, your plans start revolving around his schedule instead of your own. At first, it can look like devotion, but over time, it removes something a man was originally drawn to. Your fullness, your own momentum. Nobody falls for a woman who has no life of her own, even if they can't articulate why the spark faded. A man is attracted to a woman who is living, not one who has paused her life to orbit his. Number 4, reacting instead of responding. Every relationship has friction, disagreements, misunderstandings, moments of tension. That's normal. What matters is how those moments get handled. When every small issue turns into a big emotional storm, when a delayed text becomes a crisis, when a disagreement becomes a referendum on the entire relationship, a man starts to brace himself before difficult conversations even begin. Over time, bracing turns into avoiding, and avoiding turns into distance. This isn't about suppressing your feelings. It's about learning to respond with intention instead of reacting on impulse. A calm woman who can hold a hard conversation without letting it spiral is rare, and rare is magnetic. Number 5, trying to control the pace of his feelings. This one shows up as pressure, pushing for labels too early, needing constant reassurance about where things are headed, asking him to feel something before he's actually felt it. Feelings can't be rushed into existence. They can only be allowed to develop. When a woman tries to force clarity before it naturally arrives, it doesn't speed things up. It usually does the opposite, because pressure and genuine desire rarely coexist. A man moves toward what feels easy and natural. He moves away from what feels like an obligation. If you find yourself needing to convince someone that this relationship should matter to them, that's information in itself. The right pace reveals itself. It doesn't need to be forced. Number 6, competing instead of complimenting. Some women, often without meaning to, start treating the relationship like a scoreboard. Who did more? Who cares more? Who's winning the argument? Who has the upper hand? This mindset might feel protective, like it keeps you from being taken advantage of. But relationships aren't meant to run on competition. They're meant to run on partnership. A man doesn't want to feel like he's up against you. He wants to feel like you're both on the same side, even when you disagree. The moment a relationship starts feeling like a contest, it stops feeling like a home. And most men, even if they can't name it, will start looking for softer ground somewhere else. Number 7, abandoning your standards to keep him around. This is the one many women don't want to hear because it sounds like the opposite of what keeps love alive. But lowering your standards to avoid losing someone rarely works the way you hope. When you excuse behavior you'd normally never accept, when you stay quiet about things that genuinely bother you, when you shrink your expectations just to keep the peace, you're not making yourself more lovable. You're teaching him what he can get away with. And on some level, he notices. A woman without standards is easy to keep and easy to leave, because there's nothing anchoring the relationship to real respect. Ironically, the women men chase hardest are rarely the ones who accept everything. They're the ones who know exactly what they will and won't tolerate and hold that line with grace instead of hostility. Now here's what I want you to notice about this entire list. None of these 7 mistakes are about being unlovable. None of them are about not being enough. They're about patterns, small, repeatable patterns, quietly shift the emotional balance of a relationship without either person fully realizing it's happening. The good news in that is simple. Patterns can be changed. If you recognize even 2 or 3 of these in yourself, that's not a failure. That's clarity. And clarity is the first step toward doing things differently. Because the woman who keeps a man interested isn't the one who never makes mistakes. She's the one who stays fully herself, who keeps her own life running alongside his instead of pausing it, who lets pace happen naturally instead of forcing it, who holds her standards with warmth instead of using them as weapons. That kind of presence doesn't chase interest. It simply keeps it, because there's nothing exhausting about being near it. That's what we talk about here at Classy Elegant. Not tricks, not games, not manipulation, just the quiet, consistent habits that make a woman genuinely magnetic. The kind of presence that doesn't need to try too hard because it was never performing in the first place. If this resonated with you, let me know in the comments which one surprised you the most. And if you want to keep building this version of yourself, stay close. There's a lot more coming.